Flipping through the channels, are we? Well, welcome to the inner sanctum of TVDays.com, where tonight's show is honoring Walter Cronkite. We know that he's gravely ill, and there's no baby boomer out there that when you have memory flashes from the past and those nights watching the news for the space program, any political events, anything that's going on in the world, the most trusted man in America was Walter Cronkite. But tonight, the majority of material I have on Walter Cronkite is a long-lost archives of the Democratic Convention I found. And what better way to enjoy Walter and all those cronies, all those archaic newscasters who came from a time when originality and talent mattered. Let's go back. Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite, they're all here for you to enjoy tonight.
WCBS TV, Channel 2.
This is our anchor desk and control studio A for our CBS News Westinghouse coverage of this Democratic National Convention, which has seen a dramatic night, ended on a new dramatic high note with Adlai Stevenson, the nominee chosen earlier tonight, announcing just about an hour after he won the nomination that he was throwing the vice presidential race wide open, felt that the vice presidency had become so important that this convention itself should decide who his running mate should be, rather than his taking that responsibility as precedent had dictated in the past. Adlai Stevenson won the nomination tonight with 905.5 votes. He needed only 686.5 to win, and by the time the roll call got to the state of Pennsylvania with its big block of votes, that put him over the top. Averill Harriman got 210 votes, Lyndon Johnson of Texas 80, Chandler of Kentucky, the governor of that state, 36.5, and Stuart Symington, the senator from Missouri, 45.5. Immediately after the vote was announced, Governor Gary of Oklahoma, having been assigned that role in conference with Carmine DeSapio of New York State, the two big states standing for Stevenson, Governor Gary took the microphone and made a motion that this nomination be made unanimous, which is also the tradition of the party. There was no chance for any of the other delegations to object to that. Sam Rayburn, in his ultimate wisdom as the chairman of this convention, did not even ask for no votes. He said he would accept aye votes, and when they came in, he announced that the nomination of Adlai E. Stevenson, the 56-year-old former governor of Illinois, the 1952 standard bearer, would be the Democratic Party's candidate again in 1956. The convention is proceeding on the floor and is expected to adjourn shortly. Meanwhile, here are Edward R. Murrow and Eric Severeid.
Stevenson's move on the vice presidency, throwing it into the open convention, is a rather unprecedented one, and it looks, I would think, at least at this moment, as perhaps a rather brilliant political move. It does a number of things. For one thing, it guarantees to the Democratic Party and their personalities at least another day of drama across the country on the television screens and the radio sets. It is designed, I would think, also to provide a contrast with the Republican convention that will open next week in San Francisco, where the vice presidential candidate is really, in effect, already settled, and there will be no real contest. And of course, Ed, it reminds the nation very sharply of this health issue and the possibility of succession by a vice president. I would think that if it's thrown out here, it would more likely mean Estes Kefauver tomorrow than anyone else, so this is certainly not for sure. I was just thinking this minute, Ed, that last fall you did a television show on your See It Now program about the history and the growing importance of the vice presidency. I don't know if you knew at the time how prescient you were going to be with that. Did you ever think it would get to the issue where tonight, with this nominee, the whole country has heard this problem stated essentially as you stated in that program last fall?
Well, I'm sure, Eric, there was nothing in that program that was new to Adlai Stevenson.
No,
He's a deep student of history, and what he said tonight was certainly a recognition of the increasing importance of the office of vice president. Eric, it seems to me that one of the more noteworthy aspects of Stevenson's victory tonight is the fact that he is beholden to no one except the people who work directly for him. He is his own man. And shortly after the nomination was confirmed, there broke out a very considerable row amongst the brothers near the throne as to whether Stevenson should in fact make this move, which is almost without precedent, come over and throw this thing open. During the row about Harry Truman's statement, Stevenson said on one occasion with a laugh, "No one can say the Democrats don't have fun." Well, they will have fun tonight and tomorrow in this battle for the vice presidency, and however it goes, I should doubt very much that it will leave very deep scars.
No, I don't think so, Ed. The whole pull, the whole centrifugal force here, or centripetal force, has been for unity. The American two-party system is a peculiar institution in the political world. It forces, by its very existence, the repair of these splits that occur within one party. You will see, I'm sure. I know, in fact, I've been told tonight that Mr. Truman will make a very strong unity speech tomorrow night. That would seem rather obvious. And he will certainly help Mr. Stevenson if he wishes the help. Mr. Harriman said tonight he would. After all, the split in the Republican ranks 4 years ago here in this hall, when the Eisenhower people called the Taft people thieves over the Southern delegations, nothing could have been more bitter than that. But you had Morningside Heights, and you had a unified campaign that followed, and that will surely follow with this party, too.
Of course, earlier tonight, Eric, as we saw, there was Harriman and Kefauver, who had been standing chest to chest for the last 3 or 4 days, arm in arm. And I don't believe that the cleavage this year, as you say, has been as great as it was 4 years ago. However, Stevenson, I think, faces a real challenge tomorrow night. And he faces, obviously, a big challenge subsequently, too. But he faces a real challenge tomorrow night. If ever he made a speech, he is required to make it tomorrow night, because this has, in fact, been a rather unenthusiastic, rather demure convention so far. And unless he can make it take fire tomorrow night, he will have won a victory, but not improved his prospects.
It's an extraordinary change that we've seen, this picture of this man tonight, compared with the similar night 4 years ago, Ed, when we sat in here and watched him come, surrounded by a great big Chicago policeman, marched in about 2 in the morning in the darkness into this amphitheater. He looked almost like a man being taken off to jail, something that he was fearing and had not welcomed at all. And here he is, confident and bright as brass, walking in and starting what may be a considerable little political coup.
Well, tonight he looked like his own man, which in fact he is. He is out from under the shadow of Harry Truman. He can either use Mr. Truman or not, as he sees fit.
Yes, we've seen a new generation take over the oldest political party in the country. Now it's on its own.
Win or lose, there will be some facelifting in the Democratic Party in the next few months.
I think they want us back now into the anchor spots.
And let's now watch Westinghouse and Betty Furness.
Now is the time to trade in your old television set for a bargain-priced Westinghouse campaign special like this big-screen 24-inch table model. It's the best buy yet in a television set. It's the best buy for 2 reasons: the giant trade-in allowance, and because Westinghouse television sets are precisioneered. That means that Westinghouse has a brand new way to make television sets. With old-fashioned wiring, wires can come together, and that means picture trouble. Wires may even come loose. Now, look at the new Westinghouse Silver Safeguard circuit. Intricate wires are locked in metal when the circuit is made, so it's practically impossible for anything to go wrong. This solid construction means the best possible picture and a longer, service-free life for your television set. And this campaign special has extra features: convenient tip-top front tuning, full 332 square-inch picture area, and this big aluminized picture tube is angled to reflect room glare down towards the floor. The set comes in rich mahogany graining or this lovely limed oak finish. Now, this set usually costs $259.95. But now it's being offered for much, much less because of the big trade-in allowance. Visit your Westinghouse dealer soon. And remember, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight's presentation of tvdays.com and honoring Walter Cronkite. We hope he's getting better. To all his fans out there, there's nobody who appreciates him more than the boomers that grew up on him. And our memories and thoughts are always with you. Get better, Walter Cronkite. And we'll see you next week.
We pause now for station identification.
Stay tuned for more convention coverage on the CBS television network.